On my angle tonight, I revisit what has been the subject of a debate for a good part of this week and, of course, during this show. The basic issue of conflict of interest, or what I choose to call here the absence of good manners. This latest debate, and I guess the President's comments today, must have been triggered by that unbelievable sight of two high-profile senators appearing in court as part of the defense team of Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko, who's facing corruption charges. I will not attempt to make any legal arguments here because first, the two senators, Kipchumba Murkomen and Mutula Kilonzo Jr., are obviously better versed in legal matters than I am. But secondly, because this, in my view, is not a legal issue. It simply is an issue of good manners. I will now tell you a true story, a little story, about my late mother and what I learned from her about this very question of good manners on my first day in school, those many years ago. My mother was a primary school teacher, and this meant that all of us in the family had to learn how to read and write and work out a few basic sums before we even started school. And so on my first day in class 1, we didn't have nursery school, PP2 or anything like that. I was pretty excited because I knew I would have my mother by my side, both in school and at home. And so with my bag in hand and a few books inside, I rushed to school to begin a new journey in life. The first lesson was mathematics, and I was elated. First, because my own mother was the teacher in front of the class. And secondly, I knew practically everything that she was teaching up there. So as soon as she gave us an assignment, I quickly scribbled the answers in my exercise book, and in less than 5 minutes, I had finished. Then in my excitement, I loudly called out, "Mother, I have finished." I rushed to her with my open page, expecting her to give me a pat on the back and show me off as a good example to the rest of the class. I was terribly mistaken. Without a warning, she descended on me with her cane and gave me a thorough beating in front of the class, all the while reminding me that I did not have a mother in that school. I was perplexed and angry. Why would she beat me up for merely calling her mother? Wasn't that what I had done every single day while we were at home? How could she now turn around to suggest that she wasn't my mother while at school? Well, my mother did not have a university degree. She had not been to any group of schools, and certainly she had not gone to law school. All she had was a sense of right and wrong. She was in a position of power, a teacher for good measure, and I would have enjoyed all the privileges in school. But she knew better than take undue advantage of her position. I had to be treated exactly like the rest of the pupils, because yes, I was just another pupil. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what good manners is about. That is what conflict of interest, or the absence of it, is about. I will now end with the words of the great Genevan philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who in his posthumous autobiography Confessions wrote, "I have drawn the great moral lesson to avoid those situations of life which brings our duties into conflict with our interests. For it is certain that in such situations, however sincere our love or virtue, we must sooner or later inevitably grow weak without perceiving it, and become unjust and wicked in act without having ceased to be just and good in our hearts." And that is what my mother was trying to say back then, and that is my angle tonight.